Hey guys, in this video I'm checking out a gimbal that was sent to me by Accsoon, which is a new company. They just released the A1 and this is the follow-up model to that. This is the A1-S. And it looks very interesting, at least from the picture on the box. So let's check out how it comes packaged. Here is the box that this gimbal comes in. It's one of those 45-degree angle gimbals, which is awesome because you can see your camera's screen while recording, which a lot of other gimbals don't have that feature. So you have some specifications and features. Here is the back, so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the screen on your camera while recording, which is awesome. Up to 3.6 kilograms. Time-lapse control, motion control, panorama, ultra-wide angle. Very cool. So let's open this thing up. All right. Kind of a faux leather here. This is a nice case. It's semi-hard, not completely hard case, but it does feel very nice. There are a couple of straps on the side there, a little handle, and then a zipper, two zippers to open this thing up. All right, there is a zippered pouch. So that's nice. Here's a strap for the case. So you can put some things up there for storage. You get a nice and thick manual, and then I'm assuming, yep, warranty card. Open this up, and here's the gimbal. So I'm assuming this probably shifted a bit during shipping here, so a couple of things are out of place. Anyway, let's go through this real quick. We have a 3.5 mil to a micro USB, another micro USB to micro USB, and a third one. That is a connector that I have not seen before, so I don't know what that one is. But you get some cables. You also get another USB to micro USB. This one is for the charger. 2 batteries. Speaking of which, here they are. So quite large. A little mini tripod. This thing is solid. It's heavy. It's not cheap feeling. All metal. And then kind of rubber feet at the end. We have a handle here. That's going to have the battery, I'm assuming, at the bottom. So we have the plate for mounting the camera, as well as a lens support bracket. The last thing to pull out is the gimbal itself. And here it is. So red accents, very nice. You can see how this is angled back, and really it's going to provide you with a clear view of the back of the camera. So that's really the big selling point of these types of gimbals, is just you don't have to guess at what you're shooting, you can actually see it live. So very excited to use this thing. You have thumb screws for adjustments as well as measurements, so you can kind of just mark them and then tighten them down. Very easy. So this thing will support a whole bunch of different cameras. And quite a bit of weight at 3.2 kilograms. Very excited to use this on the camera, so let's go ahead and charge up the batteries, plug this thing in, and then see what it looks like with the camera. This is the gimbal all assembled. You could see that I have my Sony a6000, and the lens that I'm using is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. It's my favorite lens, and it is amazing for gimbal work, so definitely check this thing out. Anyway, the gimbal itself, very solid, feels very nice. It's relatively compact and lightweight. I have not turned it on yet, so let me do that. Let me show you guys what the controls look like. All right, so just above the grip, you have a toggle switch where you can move up, down, left, and right. You have a record button, which is also power and has a picture of a camera, which I'm assuming you could do photographs, and then a mode button. So pretty simple. On this side, there is a W and a T switch, and then the micro USB port. To turn this thing on, you just have to press the red button for a couple of seconds. I think it's 3 seconds, and you'll see some lights flashing. And now the gimbal is on. Very simple. Now to change modes, all you have to do is hit the mode button. I've found that there are 4 modes. The first is accessed by pressing it once, second, twice, third, 1, 2, 3 times, and fourth mode, 1, 2, 3, 4 all in a row. You can see that the lights are changing, indicating which mode that you are in. So I have the tripod stand attached to the bottom, but this is not required, so you can take this thing off, and that is how compact this thing is. Now, let me talk about the modes real quick. The first mode is pretty simple. It is the kind of standard mode that you get with the gimbal. So as you turn your wrist left and right, it will pan to focus. It will not tilt, so it will keep it steady on a level field. Unless you use the thumbstick and raise the camera up. The second mode is a little bit different in that it follows your tilt up and down. So if you wanted to do a little bit more dynamic shots, kind of coming up or going down, you can choose the second mode and it will follow your pan as well. The third mode will just lock the gimbal in place. So whatever you point it at, that is where it's gonna be. No matter what I do, it's never gonna move left or right, up or down. It's just locked onto whatever your subject is in the center. Now you can still move it around, but once you move it, it's gonna stay there. So pretty cool. Last mode is number 4. And this is the one that is pretty unique. Not a whole lot of gimbals have mode 4. What it does is it doesn't follow tilt down and up. It does follow your turn, but it also follows pitch. So you can kind of turn it like that and get some pretty creative gimbal shots. So anyway, this gimbal is very smooth, silent. All the motors are silent. You can't hear them at all. Very easy to balance this thing. Let's take a look at some sample videos. Here we go. Now, all of those sample videos were taken with this combo. So my Sony a6000, Sigma 16mm lens, except for the last 3 or 4 clips which were done on my a6500. Number 1, this Sigma 16 is an amazing lens. Number 2, this gimbal is very smooth. I have to say that out of all of the 3 or 4 other gimbals that I've tested on this channel, it is probably number 2 in overall stability. It is only beaten by my current favorite gimbal, which is the Zhiyun Crane 2. And you could see them side by side. They are relatively similar, but also pretty different. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. While I was out taking sample videos with this thing, I noticed a couple of things. I did find oddly it was easier to balance a heavier lens like the Sigma 16 than it was a lighter lens like my Sony 35. For whatever reason, I found it difficult to balance my Sony 35 and the gimbal was vibrating until I found that happy medium. So just something to note, this thing is rated for up to 3.2 kilograms, and it seems to work slightly better with a little bit of a heavier camera. Now, you could still use this with an a5100 and kit lens, it just might take you a little bit longer to balance the thing. Battery life on this thing is excellent. There is no battery indicator on the actual gimbal, but the app, which I will talk about shortly, does have a battery indicator percentage. So that is very cool. This thing is rated for 16 hours according to their website, which is insane. Now, because of the 45-degree angle on the back, I found it very easy to see the back of the screen while shooting. So setting up your shots is very simple. Now what's cool about this as well is with normal gimbals like the Zhiyun that I have, to switch to a low angle shot, you have to kind of rotate it this way and then drop it down, which you can do with this gimbal. As you saw, I just did. Moving it back up is a little bit more difficult, but there we go. With this gimbal, you can also get that low angle just by moving it down like this. So you can see that this bar does not get in the way of the lens. So you can get some pretty cool low angle shots. Now I noticed that in the samples, for whatever reason, when I was taking and doing low angle shots, it was not as stable as it was upright, but it wasn't terrible. The last thing that I'll mention about this gimbal is that it has an app. Now most gimbals that you purchase now have apps. This one is really, really good. In fact, I think it's better than the Zhiyun Crane app, which is saying a lot. Let me show you what the app looks like. So opening up the app, you see Accsoon, connect to A1. You just push this button, it will find your A1, and you are connected. That is how easy and quick it is to connect to this thing. So you can see that there are adjustments now. It's showing me kind of the angle that everything is at. If I wanted to go in and just control it, I can do that with this joystick. I can kind of move the gimbal in whatever direction I want, and you could see hopefully back there. You can also do updates. You can change the settings, so auto tuning, advanced settings. So you can get pretty technical about how fast the motors are adjusting for whatever it is that you're shooting. So you can customize a lot on this thing. You have this creative section where you have the option to do a panorama. You have the option to do a time lapse. You have the option to do motion control where you can set up keyframes and position the gimbal in different areas, get really creative. And then ultra wide angle. So how does this Accsoon gimbal compare to what I think is the best gimbal on the market for the money, the Zhiyun Crane 2? Well, it's a little bit different. You can see that the back of the screen is clearly visible with this gimbal. That's part of the design. Zhiyun Crane, it's blocked. This gimbal is lighter and more compact than the Zhiyun Crane. The battery life is longer than the Zhiyun Crane. The smoothness is on par and the app is better. And when you factor in that this thing is several $100s cheaper than the Zhiyun, it makes a whole lot of sense as to why this may be the better buy for you. If I could change two things about this gimbal, number one would be to add kind of a rubberized texture or more of a grip to the handle, because it's just smooth metal, and once your hand is holding this up, it gets sweaty. And number two, I wish the on-off switch was easier and you didn't have to hold it down for 3 seconds and really 5 seconds to turn this thing on. Just a regular on-off switch would have been better. But again, those are nitpicking points. This is still an excellent gimbal, and I have to say one of the best that I've tested on this channel. Very impressed from a company that I've never heard of before. So again, special thanks to Accsoon for sending this thing out for review. If you guys are interested in reading more about the specifications and features of this thing, I'll post a link to Amazon down below. Be sure to check that out. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. Let me know what your favorite gimbal is on the market for your Sony mirrorless. As always, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.